Good afternoon, and welcome to Man Cave Meditations. Let's dive in. So I was just watching a few minutes ago my favorite shows. I Hit News. I don't want to say when I started watching, the first time I watched them, they had like 400 something thousand subscribers. Now they're like added a million, like 1.4 million over months. And yeah, I believe one of the keys to their success is it just been the success of anyone during this time is just the authenticity that they bring to the show. Not just Jen and Angie, but this episode I just watched a few minutes ago was Jen and her husband Josh. And it was just a very thoughtful episode. Well done. And among other things, it just looking at, being authentic and truthful about the divisions within our country, which Trump has so exploited. That's what Trump does. He'll create division, but he exploits it. So in the end, if you look at this past decade, it's almost like it's just bubbled everything up. Things that have just been kind of under the surface. I know I've made many of these videos about history, and again, I feel that our country never fully has never fully healed from the divisions of the Civil War. This North, South, red, blue, whatever you want to call it. And there's always been, throughout humanity, but especially this country, an unresolved individual and collective racism that's almost been taught and stoked by our society. Because anyone who isn't white, especially a white male, I know. I could have gone that whole way. I could have gone to law. I didn't want to be a part of it. Or I was a part of it at times, but in the end, it's just the degree of privilege that you, someone be born in this country has as just a white male and female, but more so white male, has and continues to be extraordinary. The deference to which you're given. And I feel that Trump, in a way, if we can ever, history can find a way to be grateful to him for something, it's that in the end he just bubbled up all this stuff. Like a medicine or an antibiotic would just gonna bubble up this sickness within you. It just comes to the surface. It goes out. That's what we're experiencing now. This bubbling up. And there are two ways, in the end. Two ways we can go. And we see the division increasing more and more between these two ways. One of the ways, as all of this bubbles up, okay, within us individually and collectively, not just, it's globally, this is happening, but especially in this country, it's happening. That when these things bubble up, we choose to say, no, I want to go in this better way. I know that this isn't right. I know it isn't right. I know that mass men taking people off the streets and keeping them in alligator Alcatraz, that's not right. I know that kicking 14 million people off their, Medicaid, ACA subsidy, that's not right. I know not giving people SNAP benefits while you build a $300 billion ballroom, that's not right. Right? And that's one way, the way towards our truth, towards what is right. Goodness, which I believe firmly that that's our natural state of being, to be good. And then the other way, and there are two ways, is maybe the individual, as they see these things, knowing that even though they know that this way is wrong, you basically keep doubling down, like going towards the wrong way. You know, just this, to give them props again, just an IHIP that Jennifer and Josh just did, that episode, they showed a video of a woman, an older white woman, basically accosting this family. I think it was at least one of the members, it was a Hispanic family, and she was outside their car banging on the window saying, "Where are you from?" Right? And she said, "I was born here," in the end. You know, these people like defending themselves. You know, like, we're from Florida. Just because they're Hispanic. "Where are you from?" "I was born here." Just the sickness. And you looked at her, she's like, look, zombie. It's like, it takes over your whole body. There's negativity. And you put yourself ahead or above another. Right? And that woman, guaranteed, unless she was a Native American, she had, like so many of us had, who were born in the first, second, third generation, whatever, our ancestors came. Right? And you look back 150 years ago with the Irish, the Germans, they were treated like shit. Right? It's so, like, the hypocrisy is boundless hypocrisy. But you see that other way, as opposed to growing and becoming a greater version of ourselves. This other side is, it wants to put its head in the sand. It wants to just keep, we're right. Even though it's madness, it's lunacy, it's evil, like doing these things to people, we're right. Because the moment that you have you admit that this is wrong, then you also admit within yourself that I might have been wrong, I made a mistake. And that's like a death blow to an ego. I couldn't have been wrong, this can't be wrong, it's my side, I'm an American. And so you see, they just keep going deeper and deeper into that division. And so this is happening globally, but it's definitely intensifying, happening within this country. Like, we seem to be like the head of it, this division, right? Of defending these old systems, these ways of thinking. Us, we're better than you. We should have, you shouldn't. All these old systems that are collapsing, and people are trying to defend them more and more, and the walls are closing in on them. Right? Whereas on the other end, this wave, you just saw it in the elections, November 5th elections. This wave it's increasing. More and more people say, no, this isn't right. This isn't the way things should be. Right? Why aren't we taxing the rich? Why? When did that become okay? Why is it okay that we're the richest nation in the history of humanity, and that we consider health care to be a privilege and not a right? We should fix that. That doesn't make sense. It's again, it's not about good or bad. It's about what works versus what doesn't work. And if we can give thanks to Trump in any way after this is all said and done, is that in the breaking of these things, it's allowing and giving space for something new and better to be born. Because you look at this country, and we are just ass backwards, you know, in just a lot of the ways that we do things. And I feel like this time with Trump is almost like it's almost our self-made reckoning, like we needed this reckoning. And he's not. I said it before, it's going to get bumpy before it gets better. It is. But you see these split in the road where you have this group of people going, and they're going to keep getting more and more desperate. defending him or him and all of his cronies. Actually, I think with him, I don't think he gives a shit. I think he's just roaming around at this point. And probably for months. Since he was an argument, he's roaming around. You know? But the people who are around him that actually wield this power, this immense power of the presidency, and they are wielding it, they are going to get more and more cornered. You know, you already see it with Hegseth, he's being charged with war crime. I mean, you're going to see it more. Pam Bondi, Christine, you're going to see it more and more. They're going to get just all these people. And Trump's going to skate through the whole goddamn thing. He'll die in his sleep or whatever, you know. But, yeah. They're going to become more and more cornered and more desperate. Whereas this growing just coalition of, call it the willing, you know, that are just more and more people are just looking at this, just like this. There's got to be a better way. This is madness. What they have done, what they propose, is madness. For people to jump at ship. You're going to see this Tennessee election coming up. I don't know the date. But supposedly it's a district that Trump won by like over 20 points. That candidate, I saw her. Well-spoken, just great personality. She's going to win. I can eat my words. Most of the time, I haven't. With many of the predictions I made. But she's going to win. I think she's going to win. I feel it. Boom. And there's just going to be one more thing that makes that whole opposition side collectively, individually and collectively shit their pants. They're going to shit their britches when they see that go through. And that will just, again, just like the November 5th results, and all this bad news that's coming in from this economy and everything, they just continuously continue to fuck up everything they touch, all of them. No, not just from Trump, but Russell Vought and this, you know, Joseph Goebbels, wannabe Stephen Miller, Christy Null. No one knows what the fuck. It's all depravity. It's all depravity. And they are going to get desperate, quick. And supposedly this whole thing, I'll leave it with this, but this whole thing with these mass resignations, if they end up going through Congress, just a few more. What do you like 6? You know, I think this Tennessee win, which I feel will happen. You could, the Republicans have like a 6-seat majority. Then it's going to be 5. Then it's going to be 4, and then a couple people are going to resign. They're going to be tired of it. Mike Johnson, you know, Grinder Mike Johnson, as I calls him, they're tired. They're like abused children too. All the Congress people. Not that I feel bad for them. They just had like a 3-month vacation. They probably don't want to come back from work. When he just disbanded Congress for 3 months, they probably don't want to deal with it anymore. Shit, he can't hold the town hall. You get run out of the building. You know? You're basically being forced to pass legislation, which just screws all of your constituents. That's the one legislation that you signed, the big, beautiful bill. Yeah, we're going to screw you all. For the sake of our donors. We're going to screw you. We're going to screw you. You didn't know what to do with it to begin with. So, yeah, screw you. Sorry. And then you see the backlash from it. They're about to lose, so they just want to get out. They want to cash out. It's not worth it anymore. I like my vacation, making $200,000 a year where I didn't have to work for 3 months. I like that. I want that to keep going. So, it's this again. I've talked about it. It's obvious for anybody who's paying, you know, a modicum of attention to any of this. It's obvious that this whole shift, it's happening. It's and I know I said in my last video, I still don't think he'll go below 30%, Trump. But everybody around him, JD, Bessent, Christie, Miller, Russell, you're going to Hegseth. They're going to start, just, it's all going to come down on them. All of them. Because they're the ones who've been making the decisions the whole time. And Trump will, in the end, skate through. Skate through by exiting the world, skate through by whatever. But I don't think he will not be held accountable for any. I could eat my words with that, but he will not be held accountable in the end for anything. But there are members of this administration, given the return of some semblance of sanity and the opposing side taking power, there are members of this administration who will, should, and most undoubtedly will face prison time of some sort. And this must be so. There must be a reckoning, or else they cannot be trusted. There must be a reckoning. So, all right. Spoken too much. Hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving. And I'll talk to you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.